So it has now been said that the Galaxy S9 and the S9 Plus is all mainly about the optics. And if it's optics, then who better to speak to than, of course, Atul Kasbekar. So you actually got to spend a little bit of time even before the India launch with the phone. So let's start with the very basics. Anything that startled you? I mean, you hold a camera phone in your hand, company will give you, of course, all the hype and the buzz behind it. But once you have it in your hand, anything that shocked you?
So I think it just gets better and better with each generation which is given. And I think here the low light f1.5 is actually pretty darn close to my professional cameras. I mean, my fastest lens, for example, is an 85 f1.2. which is also prohibitively expensive.
Yes. I was about to say, and the cost of that.
Yes, just the lens alone, you can get quite a few phones. Yeah. So we're up there, and it's lightning quick. And I think, especially when the HDR is on, it's remarkable what you get in terms of a dynamic range. Yeah. I tried playing with the Pro mode quite a bit, because what tends to happen is, the camera likes it a little brighter. Maybe the default settings are for people who are not professionals, so they like it happy and whatever. So it's actually deceptive. So Rajiv, when you see a scene and your eye sees it as actually low light, and then the camera makes it, actually enhances it and makes it prettier, so to speak. So for a professional eye, you need to sort of tone that down a bit. But that's okay. I mean, you're getting images that
most others would be, like you said, very happy and bright is always good for a normal consumer. Yeah. But let's get down to that part, because that is the most fascinating part. An f1.5 on a camera phone. So you went down, we were off camera, we were talking about what did you really do to really test it and take it through its paces. So you went down at night to Crawford Market and other places. So did you then fiddle around with it? Did you do it just on Pro mode? What did you do? And when you came back, we've seen some of the results, right?
Right.
Are these all untouched after you've taken it on the camera?
Yeah, we've done actually nothing to the pictures, and they've not been enhanced in any way apart from maybe sharpened a little bit. I tend to sometimes try and tweak down my colors if they look like I shot in Chernobyl or something. So sometimes it gets a little radioactive. Yeah. So I've toned it down, but other than that, nothing else. And so the wonderful thing is the democratization, so to speak, of the photographic process. On a given day, your cardiac surgeon could probably take an unbelievable photo just because he's got a camera in his pocket, which also he can answer a phone call with once in a while. So it's actually quite remarkable where we're going. And coming to shooting places like Crawford Market, which even at like 9, 10 at night are bustling and it's manic. The ease of which you can pick up, aim, go, bam, 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 is remarkable. I fiddled with the Pro mode when I wasn't about to get run over by a scooter or something, but, or somebody, or some fairy.
That would have been a good picture though, last minute.
Yeah, for the NDTV guy shooting, he get a great action shot. So, but apart from that, I think the auto actually does a lot for you. And so I'd actually play with the exposure and take it down a bit, but.
So let's get down to the two questions which become obvious now that technology is taking these giant leaps forward. The first one, of course, is, and now that you have this kind of optical capability in your pocket, as you said, is that a threat to most professional photographers? Because part of the creativity comes from the equipment and part of it from the person. When everybody is a great photographer, there's that line blurring, which is good or bad. And the second, of course, is how far are we now from that question that we've been asking for the last 10 years? Will a camera phone replace a DSLR at one point?
So the second one's easier to answer. I think it's inevitable. To give you an example, some images I took just before Christmas. A friend of mine had come back from Holland and he actually paid for prints, which is a first, okay, taken off a smartphone. So I said, are you serious? I took these with my smartphone. And he's like, yeah. So, I mean, so I made money.
So that one answers it.
Yeah, so that one, and I think as soon as you get, the lensing sorted and the long lenses and the, so you get a range of lenses, I think it's inevitable. The key thing people don't realize is that the unsteadiest tripod is steadier than the steadiest hand. So a lot of pictures when you blow up, which are shot handheld, are actually soft. So to get the professional part of it, because the ergonomics of a smartphone don't allow you to be as steady as possible. So you need to use some kind of tripod-like device to be steady yourself. That would be a pro tip, you know. And
so let me get back to it, because this will be great knowledge for everybody out there. So you're basically saying that if a few very, very professional lenses start to become available for camera phones only, and we could get optical stabilization as well as maybe a tripod that is made for this, you could move to a camera phone at this point?
There's a whole lot of work that you could quite easily do. Like, I don't see any reason photojournalists would then use a DSLR. Okay. You know, you could have two smartphones, you know, and just go like Clint Eastwood or something.
Yeah, I mean, we'll steady you. Yeah. And of course, then comes the question, which of course is our fantasy question, and which is the creativity of the person behind the camera and the camera itself. Is there a threat there? Where so everybody thinks they're fantastic now.
Yeah, so everybody has come up to a certain level. You know, so the lowest common denominator is much higher than it used to be. Okay, and on a given day, like I said, your lawyer or your surgeon could you know, take a great image. But my famous line for this is that no typewriter ever wrote a novel by itself. You know, so eventually, I think, you know, what you bring to the table is your art education and your travel education and how aware you are of aesthetics and design and so on and so forth. So, but you throw a stone now and there's a photographer.
Yeah, I know. I mean, everybody thinks they're great, and actually people are bringing out great. Sure. So great, we've seen one more huge leap forward. I look forward to meeting up with you the next time they bring it down to an f1.2. Yeah. I want to see what you do with your lens that day. Seriously. Thanks, Atul. Great to speak with you. Thank you. Thank you.